What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be rocking it with a mock the mock. And since not that many people have mock drafts coming out, I decided to look up one. And you know what? Let's talk about the CBS one because it kind of sounds pretty cool. I'm excited to talk about it. So if you guys do like this type of series, if you guys like mock drafts in general, like, comment, subscribe. And guess what? Tomorrow, 7-round mock draft coming out for every single team. It's going to be insane. Don't worry about it. Not 32 separate videos, one big ass video. It was a lot of work. So I hope you guys do support me by going over there and checking it out when it drops. So let's kick into this. Let's look at how terrible this mock draft is. We already know it's going to happen. Starting off with number one, Evan Neal. So far, so good. I think that he is the number one player in the class, in my opinion. The guy's absolutely dominant. He also is very versatile, extremely raw, so you can mold him to wherever you want. And the guy's he's going to be an absolute beast. I love Evan Neal. It's very rare that you find guys of his size and stature, so big fan of that pick. Aiden Hutchinson going to Michigan again. Not going to Michigan. Well, technically, it is Michigan, but going to the Detroit Lions. I like it. Again, homegrown talent. You're going to get a very consistent player. This is a team that needs to at least get something. You don't need to swing for the fences and get KT. You can get somebody who has the potential of KT, but maybe not exactly the ceiling. He has just much higher floor. You need to make sure you have somebody who can consistently impact your team year in and year out. KT is next. This is probably the one team where I actually do feel a bit worried about him having those personality concerns. Like the Texans organization is not one that's very favorable with the NFL community in general. So KT certainly isn't on my radar as somebody who would be someone who wants to go to Houston. So that's probably the one time I would really pass on KT is there. And, I think that going after offensive line, when offensive line is becoming such a big topic of discussion, is probably the right move. Then you got Quando to the Jets. I think that's a stud pick. Surprised that's a pretty ballsy move to say that he's the fourth best at his position. I can guarantee you Trevor Penny or somebody is just absolute nut job there to put Quando below the top three. But regardless, Quando's a stud, especially with this team. Mekhi Becton is probably the perfect mentor for him. And you got to love how the CBS NFL draft site doesn't even have the bar at the top. Just got to love it. Kyle Hamilton is the next pick for the Giants. I think that's the best player available. But again, I would go offensive line because you have to solidify the offensive line. So that's where I would rock. But again, Kyle Hamilton is a stud. Leaving the Panthers, go Kenny Pickett over Charles Cross. I disagree with that. Again, I don't think Kenny Pickett's that great. I mean, to be honest, it is probably going to be quarterback. But if you go QB, you might as well have the excuse of Malik Willis not being ready to be able to play day one. Then you got George Karlaftis passing on a tackle again. So New York. Yeah, I can tell you guys aren't happy because I'm not happy for you. I love George Karlaftis and Kyle Hamilton, but if you leave the first two picks without an offensive lineman, it's time to remove the new GM. It's time to clear house again. Even though it all looks great with Brian Daboll and stuff, if you do not at least, let's just say the first three picks, if Trevor Penny somehow falls to the second, then throw a riot. Just leave New York as your favorite team. Just leave them. They don't care about you because I love George Karlaftis, but there are much bigger needs than getting a high-end edge rusher. Sauce Gardner to the Falcons. I dig it. Jermaine Johnson to the Broncos. Don't think it's worth the pick, to be honest. And I love Jermaine Johnson with a passion. So that's coming from one of his biggest fans. I think that there's a lot of other higher value positions at that pick. Malik Willis trades up to 10. Goes at 10 to the Steelers, who trade up with the Jets. Honestly, at least the Steelers do something. At least it's exciting again in Pittsburgh. So cool. I love Malik Willis to Pittsburgh. It's just how much do you have to give up to get up there? Nakobe Dean at oh, wow, that's a bad pick. And I love Nakobe Dean, right? And in my 7-round mock, spoiler alert, he goes before this pick. It's just why? Nakobe Dean is the exact opposite linebacker than Washington needs. Nakobe Dean fits a lot more of that Jermaine Davis role. You want somebody, maybe if you go the linebacker route, go at least after Devin Lloyd, who could play the run. That's the big issue. So somebody didn't do the research. They heard they need a linebacker from somebody in the building, and they're just like, okay, I'm going to stick the best linebacker in the class there. Not a bright move. Yeah, Derek Stingley is next. I think that's a phenomenal pick, and it very well might be the pick that I do for the Vikings. And Garrett Wilson, I love Garrett Wilson so much to the Browns. The guy actually graded out as a blue chip player for me, guaranteed day one starter, and the guy's phenomenal. I love him. I love him to death. Trent McDuffie to the Ravens. This is one of the few teams where I don't think that he's worth it at all. Just doesn't fit the scheme, and I would just never ever get that. I don't understand the point of that when there's so many other corners that fit what the Ravens are looking for. That's not named Trent McDuffie. And then you got Travon Walker here for the Eagles. Everybody and their mom loves Travon Walker to the Eagles, and I just don't see it, even though I love Travon Walker. Guy's a beast, but I just don't see him as a true Eagle. If he ends up going there, I'm going to fully support it because, again, the guy's a stud. I just think that maybe there's a better route. Treylon Burks to the Eagles as well. I've been doing that quite a bit. If he ever gets there, I think he's going to be probably testing that 4.3s in a straight line. He's a stud. Probably going to be not so great in the 3 cones and stuff, just not as nifty as most wide receivers, which is very DK Metcalf-like. But Treylon Burks is a stud. I would like to see him on the Eagles. Chris Olave to the Chargers. I don't really think that he'd actually be the best option at that point. I'm not that high on Chris Olave. I have him as a second round pick and like more of an early second than anything. But again, I think that there's better wide receivers on the board in general. And I just think that there's a lot better options than Chris Olave. Desmond Ridder going to the Saints, and you guys will see starting on Monday, you can check out somebody who is very popular with this channel to go see our 2-round mock draft. That very well might be the pick. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like Desmond Ridder that much. And, I feel like it's a big reach. Jalen Petrie. Wow. Okay. Here we go. Jalen Petrie to the Eagles. Do not like this at all. So I know that it's definitely a position of need, but if you can go Jalen Petrie, you might as well go a corner, or you might as well go a linebacker, or Tyler Linderbaum, who's a stud. So not a fan of that at all. Just going Jameson Williams, that makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't think that stretching the field is going to exactly accomplish the best return on your investment. So I guess at least you got requisite picks to develop elsewhere. I just don't think a deep threat like Jameson is going to be your answer at number 10 or number 20 in this case. David Ojabo going to the Patriots. I could so see that, and it would work out perfectly. Devin Lloyd to the Raiders. I could see that too. And then Tyler Linderbaum falling to 23. I hate this with a passion. I'd love it if the Steelers traded back and got him. I would love it. But yeah, he's like my number 4 player in the draft, and he's their number 5. So I don't get it. Charles Cross, of course, falling to 24 is a complete bullshit. That's just straight up BS. But it would be a great pick for the Cowboys. It's just straight up BS. Then you got Drake London here for the Bills. I would be very intrigued to see how they deploy that. But again, they're taking a shot at investing in their future, and Josh Allen's probably going to like Drake London. Then you got Kenyon Green to the Vikings. Wow, I don't know why I said Vikings. To the Tennessee Titans. I think that'd be a really good selection. I really like him quite a bit. I think he's an offensive tackle more than anything. So, honestly, that's pretty perfect. Jordan Davis to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to be fighting with Vita Vea, apparently. I would much rather go after his buddy in Devontae Wyatt than anything else if I'm going to be drafting somebody for the Buccaneers. Then you got Jahan Dotson here for the Packers. The guy's a stud. I love him. I would definitely disagree with that. I think he's going to be more in my top 20, 25. So I dig it. 29. You got Trevor Penny, positional rank 11th. Wow. That is intriguing, to say the least. So, okay. I did not expect that. But somebody who I've always thought about sending here to the Dolphins, I think that they probably value something else besides the offensive line, because they've been kind of crap at developing the high-end offensive line. So that's up in the air, but I would not fault them for doing it. Dax Hill, we all know that should probably be the pick. Bernard Ryman going to the Bengals. Did not generate the image there. You got to love the internet. But honestly, I would not shame him at all for doing that. I wouldn't. And then Carson Strong going to the Lions, not the quarterback I would choose, but I still think taking a developmental quarterback would not be too shabby. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, for a CBS draft, my expectations are really low. So for a CBS draft, this is fine, but you guys know the deal. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.